Okay, so I'm working on this little hipped gable end here. I can't go into how I've done it really because I've only got one hand and the other hand's on my camera. But basically, as you can see here, I've cut in this is what I would call a common rafter. And this would be exactly the same as the last common rafter if this was a full hip, but it's minus half the thickness of your truss or rafter material here, because the center line is, this edge is not the correct line. The center line is the correct line of the roof, so that the correct sort of triangulation line of this roof is up the center there and then down the center here. And so I've cut my first what I call common rafter in, and I know everyone does this a different way, and then basically I intersect my hip at the top, and then that sits down on the bottom here. I've done one sort of long cut on there rather than a corner cut, which you normally do. And then as you see, the roof then lines in perfectly all the way up and down. So maybe if I get a chance to do another hipped roof, which I do plenty of, I might be able to get someone to hold a camera for me and I could maybe explain it in a bit of a better detail. Basically, the way I look at roofing is it's a bit like mathematics, and an example of that would be the number 4. The easiest way to get to number 4 is 2 plus 2, but you know, you can also get to the number 4 by 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and it's a little bit longer, but you still get to the same number, and that's what roofing is about as far as I'm concerned. As long as the number's the same, it doesn't matter the mathematics how you get there, and roofing's very much the same. Lots of people have different methods to do things, but realistically, as long as the pointy bits at the top, you know, that's all that counts. So I'm cracking on with this gable end. I've got all my hips in, my rafters, my jack rafters, cut the ends ready, fitted the soffit on the barge, gable barge. I've knocked out for my feather edge boarding. I'm just waiting for some more feather edge boarding to come, and then I'm going to start boarding that. Then I shall put the exposed soffit on top of the rafters at the top there and the fascia on, and get these barges on and get that looking good. I've got all of the barge soffit on, these rafter feet all cut back and shaped, and I've also cut the feather boarding up nice and tight around those purlins. I managed to get it done before I put the fascia on here. It would have made it a lot more awkward. So the only job I've got to do here now is put the fascia on here and join it to the barge on here. I think that'll be, I think what they call a bastard mitre down there. And then this piece of timber here, which is the soffit, will sit down on top of it here. And that'll make it all look neat and tidy. I've just got one more course of feather edge to put on here, which will lip 25mm over my oak goalpost, which is going here, which I'm going to make next. So it's a wet old day today, and it's going to rain all day. So what I'm going to do is put some wooden flooring in here today. It's finally stopped raining, so I've come back out to start to get this job finished off here. So I'm not going to work on this oak frame on the front today because the builder wants to get a hurry up on and get the roofers in. So I'm going to get the fascia and barges all done today so that they can start roofing, and I can work on the timber goalposts out of this oak I can work on that once they've started felt and battening in. So the first job I've got to do, which is possibly the most awkward, and again it's down to the fact that this is so tight to the boundary, is I've got to put my fascia, I've got to cut those rafter feet straight, put my fascia and exposed soffit on there. The tricky job is I've got to cut the last course of feather edge up as well, and run a row of noggins in to terminate that too. So that's going to be a bit tricky because I'm going to have to do it all overhand while stood on that scaffold and poking through those trusses. And then I've got to do the same on just this little bit of fascia here. And then the painter's done the ends of these rafter feet, so I'll put the fascia on there as well. And then I can finish off putting all the barge on. Before I can put this little bit of fascia on here, because basically when you're doing barge boards you do all your fascia first and then you do barge boards after. I've got to put this bit of barge up here, so I've done this bit of fascia down here, and then what I do, because the barge obviously runs down the face of this last raft, or I've put a packer on there because there's a little stud wall going in there afterwards, so I just carry my line on down, you see my pencil line there, and then level it down, and then I'll cut this off, and then when I put my barge on here it slides all the way past, and then we put a nice plumb cut and seat cut on the barge, and then once that barge is up, once I've cut that barge into here, I can then bring this fascia through into it. So the builder wanted a rustic effect. He's certainly got a rustic effect, because this is a bit of gravel board, fencing gravel board, I think. So, but once that's stained in black, it will match everything else. So do that now, and maybe I'll put a tiny block in behind there, perhaps just to catch that fascia, and then I can get that bit of fascia on there, and then get the rest of the barge on.